Everybody hear me fine? Okay, so I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, I'm a customer. I run a small company in Costa Rica, so we're going to take a look at what we did for our company. What we do is we send teachers to companies or sometimes homes to teach English. So basically, we're English classes as a service. And our customers, a lot of times, are high executives, so they're canceling, rescheduling classes. So we offer that ability. We also need to be able to track that class that gets canceled, because sometimes we give them the flexibility to reschedule it. So what do we do with that class? In the meantime, how do we track it? We have to calculate pay on who paid, who taught what class. Or if a class was canceled, sometimes teacher's on his way, class gets canceled. Our biggest problem has always been, how do we track that class that got canceled in time and has the customer has the right to reschedule. Okay, so we manage between 10 and 20 teachers. Our teachers are subcontractors to us. Probably manage anywhere between 50 and 70 courses. And events in a month can be up to about 500 events. So that we're trying to find out, did they get taught? Did they get rescheduled? Did they get canceled? Why did they get canceled? So that was us. That's us beforehand. That was me and that was my teachers. Everything we were doing was on paper. It might as well be stone, right? So problems that we had, we were doing all this on timesheets that were being recorded by hand, so you can imagine what the problems were. Illegible, late, incomplete, unreadable, just sometimes missing data. When we had to audit something, the audit was basically sit down with a stack of paper timesheets, create an Excel file, start putting the dates up so we see what happened, and then all of a sudden you had a date that wasn't recorded, so then you didn't really know what happened to it. So we were manually tracking. Person who would do payroll would sit down and look at last time's timesheets to see if there was classes canceled that now were taught. So and everything was calculated manually. Example of an illegible, because we do have people out in the field and they aren't employees, they would send the stuff in. We said we could scan it. Well, you can't read that, so kind of hard to pay somebody who can't read. Then turned in late. I guess they got the header. They got the headings. The turned in late. This one, it says incomplete, was actually turned in late. This is a guy who didn't turn in something for like 2 or 3 months. He wanted me to be his bank. So we were facing all those type of issues. So what did we do? We started looking in 2006, 2007. We started working with a local Costa Rican internet company developer. We said, look, we have this idea. We want to have email notifications. And they said, yeah, we can do it. So we sat down. We got a little bit more serious about it. And they gave us a quotation, $4,000. 2006, 2007, we were like, I think we can do that. So just before development, the price went from $4,000 to $16,000, and we said, we're not doing that. So what did? We waited a while. We said that wasn't going to, we got to remember where we were at in the timeline. So we started looking again, and we started looking at software developed for schools. The reports were good, but they were for parents. They didn't have anything to do with rescheduling, canceling, because kids in the school go to the class same time every day, and you're absent, but you don't cancel, you don't reschedule. So we looked for all those different type of things, and our biggest problem always was the rescheduling. We also looked at scheduling software, some of the bigger names. I won't name names, but there's a lot of different scheduling software. At that time, some of them now do have it, but they didn't have recurring events. I couldn't go in and say, I'm going to sell a contract. We contract with companies for 8 months or a year of training, and we're going to have classes on Monday and Tuesday from 10 to 12, and that's going to happen for a year. Well, some of the scheduling software wouldn't allow me to put recurring events at different schedules. So we trialed a couple that were specifically built for English schools, and it was kind of like trying to sit in the car. It wasn't for me. It just didn't. It didn't fit. Then we found Zoho. we started with Zoho CRM, then went to Mail, CRM Plus. Creator was over here. Creator might work. We thought about it. Didn't know if I wanted to go into developing my own, but so kept looking and didn't find. So we decided to make the plunge and do what we needed. Okay, features of our app. Okay, we have 3 different types of users. We have a couple of admins that can see reports on everybody. Then our teachers go in and they have only the information that they need to see. And then we have a student HR third party. When a student goes in, he only sees the stuff, people that are identified as HR, they can see the whole company's reports. What we did, because we didn't have this great one unified database, we created our courses in CRM and used webhook to push the information into Creator. Course management then creates the course and creates all the classes. Okay? All the time reporting is done, and if a teacher doesn't record his time or doesn't do attendance or anything like that, there's no pay. Everything is required, so data input does get done. The cancellation and reschedule feature, we have it to where we give permissions to certain students, especially in group classes. We don't want everybody being able to cancel. And we have these different cancellation types. For example, we may have a situation where we need to go to we go to a company, we show up, we want to give a class, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's in a meeting, he's not going to have class today. Well, we pay the teacher for that. So our workflow automatically, when it's cancel in sight, we'll pay. Cancel en route means he's left and he's on the way to his class, but because he's already traveling, he gets paid, or if it's a late cancellation. The reschedules, we can do the reschedules in 2 different ways. We can reschedule a class, one whole class, or we can cut them up into 30-minute units and add them only to future classes. Teachers get emails when they don't do something. They get an email notification. A schedule report runs every night at midnight. We have a bird's eye view. We give reports to our HR. As I said earlier, a student can see his, HR can see everybody. There's email, payroll is calculated, and we have teacher resource sharing. And auditing now is not an Excel sheet. Okay. Everybody on our system goes in through the customer portal. Because they are external, we didn't want to pay at that point. We were going to pay per head, and we wanted our customers to be able to go in. So everybody goes in through customer portal. This is a record in CRM. The part below is the important. What we did here is to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because we didn't really have recurring either in CRM or in Creator. We created a time and a duration for classes. Okay, this is a classes report. This is the classes that are generated in the system, because just using a start date, end date, and what days the classes fall in. And this is how we time report. They go in, they just choose a course code. Everything is set up based on a course code. And depending on what they do is if a teacher reports the class after a class, he has to give a reason why he did it. So low battery, no device. So it asks that if he reports it late. Here's an attendance report. Attendance has to be done. If he doesn't do it, if he doesn't do the report, it won't take it. He has to report for everyone. Cancel a class. Okay, so he cancels a class. If he does it on behalf of someone, then he has to go in and give it a reason. So he puts who canceled, HR, third party, how was he informed, email, day before. Rescheduling, we can reschedule a whole class or we can split it up. That's how we split it up. We just put it in, and they can either do it before or after a class and in 30-minute bites, and it updates in the system. Okay. We get a bird's eye view of what's going on in a company. Well, that's a bird's eye view, but that's not what I was looking for. That's the bird's eye view. That's a week-in process. Before, that used to be all gray. Once we put dynamic formatting, that became a report that you look at one time, you know what everybody's doing and what they've done. That's a completed week, monthly customer reports, automated pay calculation, and we have a teacher resourcing where they can put YouTube videos, they can upload Word files, PDFs, and share with other. Auditing is a breeze. And that's me after using Zoho Creator app. The flight was a little rough. What's next with C5? I did do this yesterday in about 5 minutes. I created a dash, set it up on a mobile, and basically those are the functions that we use all the time. And if a teacher has unreported classes, it shows him unreported classes. And I did that, and I don't code, so it is possible. Where we want to go, integration with online booking calendar. It's one of the things that I'm here for. Mobile apps so that they can do the rescheduling and cancel the classes. And geo-tracking. Geo-tracking, since we built the app, was always something important because sometimes you get a class that's canceled on site. But I was sitting at home watching TV, and I called my student, and I charged the class, and I didn't go anywhere. So we wanted to prevent that.